Hi, I'm Crystal and I'm an ergonomist at Alter Ergo. Today I'll be talking to you about tips and tricks to help you with your ergonomic needs at your desk. When I do an ergonomic assessment, I always start at our feet. So let's do that today. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor with good, comfortable shoes. Try to avoid wearing heels or boots that can put your feet in an awkward position. Once your feet are flat on the floor, then we move up to your knees. Make sure that your knees are at 90 degrees. The front of your chair should be about 1 to 2 inches away from the back of your leg, and this will help to support your thigh as much as possible. Your hips also should be at 90 to 100 degrees. You want to make sure that your hips are not lower than your knees. They can be slightly higher, but not lower. With your seat pan parallel to the floor, your hips and knees should be at about the same level. There's one thing to note, especially if you are pregnant. Your hips need a little bit more space to accommodate for your growing baby. So it's okay to get a chair with a seat pan that has a downward tilt to it, or slightly raise your chair so your hips are higher than your knees to provide more space for baby. The next area to take a look at is your elbow. Make sure that this angle is at 90 to 100 degrees. You want to make sure that your forearm is parallel to the floor and use armrests if possible. Armrests are really important to help remove some of the weight and pressure from your low back and your hips. So imagine you didn't have armrests at all. You'd be slouched forward like this because your muscles may get tired, or you may lean on a hard desk surface to help support your back. So use your armrests at the best height to keep your body in that upright position. Also keep your wrists free floating. You want to make sure that your armrests are not pressing on the soft tissues of your wrist here. The next thing to take a look at is your backrest. Make sure your backrest supports you in an upright position. I'm okay if you lean forward a little bit or lean back a little, side to side throughout your workday. Just make sure you have a home base and a good supportive position for your back. The upper part of your backrest should go to your mid-shoulder blade. If it goes slightly above that, that's okay too. As far as headrests go, not everybody needs a headrest. They're more so just a cue for us to keep our body in a good upright position. Every now and again I'll recommend one here and there, but more often they're not necessarily needed. So once you have your chair in a good height, everything is at the right setting, you can then move forward to adjust the things on your desk. So that's what we'll do next. When you're at your desk and are getting ready to type, you want to make sure that your elbow height is slightly above your keyboard height. The reason for this is to make sure that your wrist is free floating. When you type, you want to have your fingers in a nice downward motion. If they're not, you end up pressing on the hard surface of your chair here and the soft tissue of your wrist. So keep that area free floating to prevent any issues from occurring. So keyboard should be right in front of you, your mouse should be right in front of you as well. If you find yourself keying and mousing about the same throughout your workday, you can move your keyboard slightly to the left and your mouse in a little bit so you aren't always reaching off to the right hand for your mouse. Keeping the two together centered in front of you as one unit. If you're doing a lot of data entry, having a document holder is a good resource. It helps to keep your documents right in front of you and in front of the monitor so you don't have to look down to a separate surface or look over to the side. So this document holder should be centered right in front of you. For your monitor, if you use one monitor, you want it at about 1 arm's length away. If you have 2 monitors, it's okay to move it back a little further. The top of your monitor should be at eye level, or the top third section should be at eye level. Some people even find it helpful to know that the height of their eyebrows should be at the top of your monitor here. If you use one monitor more often than a secondary monitor, keep that first one centered right in front of you and then the secondary one off to the side. But both should be at eye level. Sitting at a desk for long periods of time is not always the healthiest option, so make sure you move about throughout your workday. If you have the option to sit at a height adjustable desk, it's important to also consider some of these ergonomic tips in a standing position as well. Once you're standing, you want to make sure that your elbows are still at 90 to 100 degrees. Keep your body close to your keyboard and your mouse so you don't have to reach too far to get to these items. You may also notice that the height of your monitor may be a bit lower than you were comfortable in sitting. So you can slightly raise the height of your monitor so the top section is still at eye level. Once you have all of these settings in place, you're good to go in a standing position Make sure you don't stand for too long. About 10 to 15 minutes per hour is great. With these ergonomic tips and tricks, I hope you can live a happier and healthier lifestyle while you're working at your desk.